When, you get an iPhone 15 or 16 next to your ear and then you start a 5G call, it stresses your whole brain, including your limbic system. And of course, that translates into behavior and feeling of anxiety, stress, and then ultimately depression, chronic migraines, and things like that.
Today's guest used to be the VP at T-Mobile until he discovered something about EMFs that made him walk away from the whole industry. Philipp Von Holtzendorff-Fehling tried to help his wife heal from chronic Lyme, and through that, he became obsessed with understanding about frequency medicine and how it impacts your body, how it changes your energy. And he eventually started a company that now has double-blind studies showing that changes in red and white blood cells, HRV parasitic loads, showing that his frequency devices can change your red and white blood cells, improve your heart rate variability, therefore your nervous system stress level, reduce parasitic load, and even protect you from EMFs. If you want the inside scoop on what EMFs actually do to your brain waves, your blood, and your nervous system, and how to support your body in regulating through all of it, this frequency medicine, Philipp and his research, his technology, and his heart around frequency medicine is going to blow your mind. When people hear the word quantum, they have no idea what it really means. To you, in the shortest way possible, how do you describe quantum healing?
So quantum energy is the energy behind the matter. It's the same energy we have in each of our cells. So we are basically walking quantum energy fields. And if we are out of balance, then we may feel sick or fatigued or off in one way or another. And if we bring that back into balance, then we're pretty much whole, right? Or healed. That's what you could say. And quantum healing or frequency medicine is the approach of using energy and or specific frequencies to help to bring a system that's out of balance back into balance.
Okay. So are there specific frequencies that exist for specific conditions?
Yes. So everything has a frequency, and there are frequencies that can promote or stimulate certain actions or reactions in our biofield or physical body. Absolutely. And you can find frequencies for, your teeth, for your ears, for, if there are headaches, for example, you can find frequencies for prosperity, right? So you can, even a vitamin C pill has a frequency, right? So everything has a frequency. And so there are countless opportunities of finding and crafting frequencies.
To exist in this world, everything is frequency. It's just incredible when I think about it. But what is one thing that you do that can get you in the frequency of health, vitality? What's one thing that's really important to you, almost a non-negotiable?
For me, it's two things. It's the sunshine. So I need to have sunshine at least every now and then, ideally every day, because that's so vital to our health. We've been made to believe that the sun is sort of dangerous for us. I see it as the absolute opposite, with common sense, right? And then it's the quantum technology to use that every day. And why? Because these two things really bring me back into balance, and I can feel to be my optimal self with these energies, with the impact.
I had a question. I got one. It's coming up right now. What is one thing in this world, lifestyle, habits, food, whatever it is, that you see as one of the biggest disruptors to our energy field, our frequency?
Well, in terms of being negative or harmful, to me, it's electromagnetic fields and it's blue light, right? Should be wearing my blue light glasses here. I forgot to put them on, but usually I actually wear them. And then it's electromagnetic fields, 4G, 5G, Wi-Fi, microwaves, and some other frequencies we don't even know about.
And we're being inundated with them, and they're affecting our overall frequency. Or do we vibrate at a frequency of health? And is that a different frequency of just chronic sickness?
Well, that's a good question. So the way I would explain it is that it disrupts our field and stresses our field. And with that, measurably, it stresses our system. So you can measure the harmful effects of electromagnetic fields already within seconds in an EEG. If you have a very advanced EEG device, you can see it within seconds. It attacks our limbic system. That's where our autonomic nervous system is orchestrated. So heartbeat, breath, and all of that, it's sort of our sacred place on a physical level. And that gets stressed. Then it also disrupts and stresses the blood. The heart rate variability is linked to the autonomic nervous system. So you see that popping up there again and destroying the HRV. You see it in cellular function. And then obviously there are long-term effects as well. And for people that don't know, I used to be vice president at T-Mobile. So it's not that I don't know anything about electromagnetic fields. I know a little bit at least.
Yeah, you know a little bit, which is so exciting for me. You made the revelation, and that was my next question for you. So you were a VP at T-Mobile. You were dedicating your time, your energy, your expertise, your skills, and you moved to Lila Quantum Tech. And there has to have been a moment that you realize that the real signal is in this work. That's when you're shifting. What was that moment like? What made you move into dedicating your life to Lila Quantum Tech?
It was actually 3 moments. The first moment was in the early 2000s, way before I actually even ended up being at T-Mobile. That was when I realized I'm at an unhappy place in my life. I had cut myself off my own emotions, my feelings, my intuition, all of the good, deep stuff, right, that make us be humans and be connected, consciously connected with our consciousness. So I started a journey of getting into meditation, into yoga. I learned various energy healing techniques, shamanic practices, past life regression work, all that good stuff. And I wanted to find some of the best healers across the world, because I got so curious and I realized at some point what healing potential there is just with energy, right? Because I found myself through that journey. I would say I also healed myself. I never had physical issues. I just had these energetic blockages all over the place. I had forgotten everything. I couldn't access my intuition, as I said. I couldn't see or perceive energies. I couldn't work with energies, but we all can, right? Now I can, because I learned how to do it. I was still in corporate though, over many, many years. In 2010, that was the second moment now, my ex-wife got diagnosed with chronic Lyme disease. And doctors said, well, you can't heal it, take antibiotics. If that doesn't work, you're gonna have it until the rest of your life and you're gonna suffer basically. So antibiotics made it worse. And then it sparked in me the passion to find something that truly helps. Relatively quickly, I realized how this whole pharmaceutical world works. And then I found out quickly, okay, what other healing modalities are out there? And then you can tap into those. And, my ex-wife was my guinea pig for all these things I found. And she got better with these things gradually over time. And it led us from one thing to the next. And eventually it led to this vision of Lila Quantum Tech, where, I realized that all the top healers that work with the quantum field, and they work with specific frequencies, and then they combine it. And what if you could create products that provide such positive energy that's helpful 24/7? Wouldn't that be amazing? And so that was the third moment in 2016, really. It was a time where I said, I can't be in corporate anymore. I need to live from my heart completely all the time, and I need to follow my own calling. Now, Lila Quantum Tech was launched in 2019, so it still took me some time to really get there. But yeah, that was the journey.
Amazing, man. You actually tapped back into your own intuition, something you let go of or lost in many ways. It was there, but maybe you turned your back on it. And what an interesting moment that you even knew that you needed to get back to something. I mean, that's just intuitive of you, right? You tapped into the thing that was you thought you lost, and that journey is incredible. I imagine that moment when you said either to your ex-wife or your colleagues that you're going to start a company like this. I just want to know, to indulge me, did you get any reactions that was like, what are you going to do? Anything like that?
So my ex-wife was born with the ability to see aura and energy fields.
Wow.
So that was really not a big stretch for her to support this and to be involved even. So thankfully, yeah.
Amazing. And it's interesting how these technologies have been helpful for her Lyme disease. Because, I mean, that's something that is often chronic for a lot of people for a long time. And sometimes people do get worse from the antibiotics for sure. So Lyme has a frequency. And correct me if I'm wrong, if the technologies are kind of imprinted with a certain frequency, it would match that frequency and they negate or they bring them back to health. Is that how it works?
So there are different ways on how to approach it. So first of all, she's completely healed and she's been healed for a number of years, which is, I think, an important part. And then Lyme's, indeed, they have a specific frequency. And you have things out there like a Rife machine, for example, right? A Rife machine works with almost physical frequencies, I would call them, right? Where they target Lymes or want to try to target Lymes to basically kill and explode those specific parasites or bacteria or whatever. That's the way how that works. That's not at all how our technology works. Our technology wouldn't even target Lyme or specific parasites. There is a way on how we could do that, but what it actually does, it targets the whole system. So your environment in your blood, for example, and in your whole body starts changing and gets into a higher vibration. And Lymes and parasites, they need a bad environment to thrive in. So if you give them an energetically bad environment with low vibrations, fear, shame, guilt, anger, plus on a physical level, you're very acidic and all of that, then they thrive. As soon as you give them a vibration that they can't stand because it's so high, they need to degenerate. And we've been able to prove that, not specifically to Lyme's now, but there is a Lyme study that just started, but with parasitic load in the blood, for example. And we can get into that at any time.
Absolutely. Right now is the time because we're talking about these devices. All right. Well, before we even do that, what I have, look, check my necklace for the viewers. I have this little gold, it looks kind of like a little golden bullet around my chest on a necklace. Can you describe to me what's going on here? What's going on with this necklace?
Yeah. So, and I have one as well here, for everyone to see. So the capsule itself is infused with specific frequencies that I would explain it that way, that they activate your self-healing powers on an energetic, emotional, and physical level. And inside the capsules, you see these titanium beads. They're charged with pure quantum energy, and they act like a booster. So that the frequencies basically are suddenly in a field like this. When you wear it or you put it in your pocket, you have this positive effect. And now people are like, okay, so what is that supposed to do, right? Yeah. So it's supposed to harmonize electromagnetic fields around the one that wears it. Also to optimize your heart rate variability. It has been shown to improve your blood. By the way, the heart rate variability has also been studied and shown that it does that. And if you know someone that can do kinesiology, you can have any one of your friends be tested beforehand, and you give them a capsule for 10 seconds, and then they have them tested again. And in at least 99% of the cases, you'll find that instantly their strength goes up. Why is that? Because it has such a beneficial effect on our energetic level. So your energy level will also increase. That's why we tell people, don't wear it at night, at least not in the first 2-3 weeks.
I saw that right on the paper. I said, okay, I'm going to follow the rules. So I have it, I put it downstairs and I leave it there and I come back and I put it on in the morning. and I'm doing my own internal testing to see subjectively what's happening. I want to be very consistent. I'm going to wear it, and then, just like, it's just, I totally believe in all this stuff. But now when research is coming out, that makes it more exciting for me, for people to understand. And can you go back? Like, I would love to understand, and for the viewers and listeners, to help them understand, wearing this helps your nervous system, your heart rate variability. And is it because it harmonizes our sympathetic response? Or do we just feel more grounded? Do we actually feel more calm with it? Have you heard even subjective measures of people saying that they feel that?
Yes. So the calmness aspect, I would describe it as being more in balance and more tuned in with yourself. So it's that, and that's what also these blocks do, right? They invite you into your own completeness and to have that come out. Now that's totally abstract for the people that can't follow and don't really know what that means. But I know that there are some out there that know exactly what I just said. And that's also exactly what it does. So it's an energetic invitation to get really tuned in with yourself. Now, what happens when you are tuned in with yourself, you're less concerned and focused on all the other stuff that's going on. You're really coming from within, because our power is within. We don't draw our power from the outside, only from within. And I think that channel is being strengthened, and hopefully that helps the other people.
Yeah. To bring us more into the internal awareness is essential.
Yeah.
I think a lot of us go through life pleasing others, right? Whether it was our parents when we were younger, or teachers, or partners, or wives, or husbands, and without the awareness of, well, what do I want? How do I feel? Needs, wants, desires. And so anything that we can put on our neck that can kind of harmonize our system. So we just go, wait a minute, hold on. What do I feel like? What does my body feel like? What's true for me? In itself will make a major, major change. But you spoke about those blood studies, and I want to go back to them. Was it just with the necklace piece, or was it also with the block?
So we started off with the necklace piece, then we moved into the blocks. Nice. And in the beginning, we just had before and after testing, because we were just a small startup, and we needed to show what it really does, and we got really curious. So we gave our products to some doctors that could do dark field microscopy, and they were like, "Oh, I get amazing results with this. This is phenomenal." And so we were all pumped and got all these pictures, and then I sent them to Dr. Beverly Rubik at some point, who's one of the top 3 researchers in the US, if not in the world, in regards to live blood analysis. And she was very concerned about electromagnetic fields. And someone had said, you got to talk to her because you have the solution for this. So I let her know, and she was like, I'm intrigued. That's very interesting. I still don't think that your products will work. And I said, so why is that? We have all these great before and after pictures. She said, yeah, but you need to have gold standard studies. So it needs to be sham controlled, randomized, and blinded. And only then you can really determine, is that really happening there? And I said, okay, yeah, that makes sense. So how can we get this done in live blood analysis? And she said, well, I've been doing this since decades, so I can design these studies and run them. I said, yeah, would you? And, what would it take? So she started the first study, and actually she wanted only 4 test persons in the first study. And I said, 4, if we have a good result, no one is going to believe me, right? That's not enough. Can we have more? Nope. We're going to do 4. That's how we operate. So I'm operating under the assumption that it doesn't work. If it does work, I'll see it. Believe me, I'll see it in these 4. And then we just do a larger study and take it to statistical significance. She called me after the pilot, and then she was like, oh my God, you got the solution. This is incredible. And you got the solution for the blood clotting problem that we face nowadays. And oh my God, it also activates white blood cells, which that was something we hadn't known before. And then I had to put on the brakes, and I was like, that's all great, but it was just 4 test persons, right? And she said, yeah, but I've seen it, it works, and now we're going to take it to statistical significance. So that's the path, and by now I think we've done 8 or so randomized, blinded, sham-controlled studies in regards to the blood, and it shows significant improvement in the blood in regards to red blood cells, so that even stage 2 of blood clotting can be reversed within 10 minutes with our technology. White blood cell activity is increased, which gets paralyzed by EMFs. Parasitic load was shown in a 6-month randomized double-blind study versus a control group to reduce by, I think it was roughly 40% over a 6-month period, while at the same time in the control group, the parasitic load increased. It's important to note. And yeah, there are some more things with the blood, but the parasitic load study is so important because it speaks to what we talked about with the Lyme, that the environment changes. And because the environment changes, then these parasites, they need to degenerate.
Yeah, it's incredible. Like, even hearing that, I'm so happy that you did the double-blind control trials, and to come with technology and saying, look, this is what we're seeing on our pilot programs, our pilot studies. When you have that, you're able to say, hey, look, red blood cells, white blood cells, parasitic load. This is really, really real stuff. And I love that you went and saw that researcher who really was able to confirm that and kind of spearhead all of that. So I'm looking at this block right now. It's like a golden tower with an open space in the middle for the listeners. And for the people who had improvements in their blood, were they just carrying that around with them? Were they sleeping with it next to them? How does one use this effectively to have benefits like that?
Good question. So the base benefits you already get by having it in your room or in your house somewhere, because it has a larger field. The further you go away from it, the weaker it gets. But we started off doing the studies by people placing their hands inside. And we knew already beforehand that it would already work if it's just in the same house. So that's what happened afterwards. So Dr. Rubik then just placed it in the same room or in the room even next to the participants. And it always worked, and it always worked great. It's just, if you put your hands inside, it works faster and is a little bit stronger. But it always works. So yes, you can just have it in your home and it already works. If you have something you want to accelerate, I don't know, a healing process or something like that, just put your hands inside every now and then, or the feet, whatever.
Okay, so this has a field of, I think it was 200 feet, or correct me if I'm wrong, because this expands pretty wide.
Yeah, that's true. And that's just the energetic field in general. That doesn't mean, so the EMF harmonization depends a little bit always where you are in the world, right? If you live in between 5G towers, then the radius of effective EMF harmonization will be a lot smaller than if you're in a normal environment. So we can only give about, approximate estimates, but I would say that, at least on 100 feet radius, it would always effectively harmonize electromagnetic fields.
Wow. So in today's world, we are inundated so much that it's almost a non-negotiable. That's what it feels like to me. It's almost a non-negotiable where your home or the space that you spend the most amount of, I put this in my workspace downstairs in the kitchen, in the dining room. I have the table and I put it right next to me when I'm working. Because I know that not only do I have the Wi-Fi near the TV, my neighbors have the Wi-Fi, because when I put on Wi-Fi, I could see their names come up. And then the neighbor on the left side has the Wi-Fi. And I'm in Venice, California, and there's a lot of houses all over the place. I can't imagine what's happening up, down, left, and right, all around. It's so, so, so important. Do you believe that, I know you mentioned in the beginning, do you believe that EMFs are going to drive our chronic disease states almost more than anything in the next few years?
Unfortunately, yes. And, there are other factors, right? To be honest, I think we live in the world of the great poisoning, right? And it comes from all sides. But electromagnetic fields are a major, major factor. And unfortunately, it's really hitting us. And, people, if you just open your eyes, did you get so many benefits in the last 6-7 years in terms of download speed by all the towers that they put everywhere? And how do the towers look like? Do they look like just towers, or do they look like military grade weapons? It's just something to think about, right? And I'm not saying either one here, but just be aware there is a lot of stuff coming at us. And if you start doing your research, you'll see it has these impacts on your blood, on your cell function, on your brain. So obviously, if it already hits you hard in the short term, if you have continued exposure, then your body can't keep up with it anymore. And then you run into these chronic disease states. And Dr. Klinghardt, for example, shows this really nicely with the rollout of all these different Gs, and then also with the adoption of iPhones and all of that in this curve, and how autoimmune diseases went up, right? So it's very interesting. There is definitely a link in regards to health. And the good news is there are solutions out there, right? And the solution is not to tear down the 5G towers, because make no mistake, it's not going to happen, right? The lobby is too big, and the convenience is also too big, right?
Yeah, 100%. Like, everyone's on their phone. You see it at the bus stop, you see it at the supermarket. It's way too big. So then the question is, we have to protect ourselves as best as possible. I think it's a non-negotiable, especially if you have kids or sensitive individuals in the house. For me, I know when I'm inundated with Wi-Fi. I know it. Like, if I go to a Joshua Tree, there's a buzzing that goes away.
Yeah.
And every time me and my partner come back to LA, we can already sense it starts coming back. And I know I know for a fact it's a 5G, or it's EMFs, because one time we had a block long power outage. Like, it was all like a chunk of Venice, California, just didn't have power. And I remember how well I slept. Everything was fine. My whole body felt like just at rest. And that's the moment I knew. I said, okay, I have to really take this more seriously now. And I did. Since then. It was back in 2019. The same year I found out about this block, actually, probably shortly after, and same time. You work with people with HRV, right? And HRV for me is such an important thing. How important is that measure to you? Do you check it every single day? How do you define HRV to people viewing and listening who don't know what it is? And can these devices really, really help our HRV? Have you done the studies that show that there's, 10 points higher, 20 points higher? What have you seen?
Yeah, so we've seen a lot of improvements with HRV in regards to the capsules as well as the blocks. And you can see in 100% of the cases, so usually those studies were also done incorporating electromagnetic fields, because one study is you can see a before and after, does it help with HRV? But if you also incorporate Wi-Fi, you can see, okay, so what happens then, right? What happens to the HRV when you turn on Wi-Fi, for example, right? Because we think nothing changes, right? That's not the case. It destroys your HRV relatively quickly if you compare it to being in an smog-free room, basically. And so those studies were threefold, really, in regards to that, and they showed improvements in 100% of the cases.
Can electromagnetic frequencies affect the mental health, the anxieties, and the depression? Do you believe that it can lead to that?
Yes, just because of the brain research that I've become recently aware of. And that was one of the things I had not known about until last December, when there was the first big study that was done by an institute in Germany with the most advanced EEG device on the market in the world. It's a 256-channel EEG that can look into your brain like an MRT. So you can visualize everything, including your limbic system. So you see exactly what's going on there. And you can see that instantly all the brain waves that are linked to stress when, you get an iPhone 15 or 16 next to your ear and then you start a 5G call, it just, oh my God, it stresses your whole brain, including your limbic system. And of course, that translates into behavior of and feeling of anxiety, stress, and then ultimately depression, chronic migraines, and things like that. Our technology has been shown to neutralize 100% of those effects in the brain, which is phenomenal because it can literally protect our limbic system. And so that was done with electromagnetic fields. Now, there was another study done with 100 women that had nothing to do with electromagnetic fields. That had to do with fertility. So this reputable health institute, that's what they're called, out of the US, they came to us at some point and said, can your technology help with fertility issues? We see those increasing over the last several years. And I said, I guess so, but I have no clue. We haven't run any studies. And they said, we would love to run a study. We have so many women that suffer from this. If you provide the technology, we can run the study. So long story short, they ran the study first with 30 women, and then it was 100 women. And they found an over 30% reduction in anxiety and in stress levels. In fear levels, also over 30%. I think it was a 10% reduction in depression levels. 20% had less memory issues than before. So all of these different markers, HRV was also an improvement across the board. So they tested all these different markers that apparently all together sort of indicate whether you're fertile or not, right? That's kind of how that works. So it's interesting, right? From all different angles, it comes back to the technology seems to help with cognitive function, with less stress, with a more balanced and calm state. And by the way, this is quite remarkable. So in the brain study, they found that our tech was able to increase the alpha activity in the limbic system by 13x. That is the activity that you want to see in order to be alert and fully calm and balanced, right? That's the perfect natural state.
Yeah. It's like the present state, right? Your body's calm, you're focused, alert, like not, sympathetic and really overwhelmed. That's an incredible state to be. I mean, that's like the optimal state. So coherence in the body. I love the study with fertility, coherence in the body, because it comes from the mental, emotional first. I mean, the fact that fear can go down because it's affecting the limbic system is incredible. Now it's on the emotional plane. So we're not just looking at the physical benefits, where it's deeper. It's the emotional plane, which is incredible because now you're talking my language, Okay, so the technology itself is something that we can wear. It's very convenient. You can put it around your neck, or we can have it by our bed. That one comes in different sizes, the block, correct?
Yes, so this is the smallest size. So it's very convenient if you travel a lot, if you want to go to restaurants, if you drive in your car, to put it there. And then we have kind of like the middle size, that would be the infinity block. And then the super block, that would be the bigger one. And we got to get you a bigger one.
The super block.
Yeah, that lives in people's kitchen. Really? Literally, because people put their meat plates inside their salad bowls.
Come on, really?
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about that. If there's a giant one of those blocks, let's say I just made salad, I'm putting it inside the block. What the heck is that block doing to my salad? There's no button to press on this block, by the way.
There's no button, and even though that may sound weird to some people, but we'll talk about the science in a second. It's almost like blessing your food, like getting a real blessing for your food, which changes the energetic nature. We have the real science, so I'm happy to talk about that. It is like blessing your food, because it literally is. So with water, we have 3 different studies that were done with all kinds of different testing methods that prove that our technology improves water incredibly fast and incredibly well. The first institute to notice that was the famous Emoto Institute out of Japan. They tested our tech over 3 years ago. And since that day, they called me up and were like, this is incredible what we've seen, better than anything we've ever tested before. Can we become exclusive resellers? So they've been reselling our products in Japan. They've never done that with any other product line from overseas. So that's the one. Then there were some people, you run into these challenges as a company. You have the Emoto Institute, which is the most famous in the world in regards to water testing, right? But then there are some people that say, well, that's not scientific enough. And then we said, okay, what's not scientific enough about it? And what do you suggest we do? Well, you need to have an actual chemist look at this. And we said, okay, so how about testing the redox potential in water? And you just have a chemist do that. So then a chemist lab in Germany tested water, and always before and after putting it in the block. And they found that the water always significantly improved, that has a better redox potential, and the redox potential changed each and every time. So there is always an effect that can be measured. So that was great. And then the Bion Institute out of Tallinn, I think, they ran a triple blind study also showing the significant effects on water. And that study will be published in the next 3 or 4 months. And they literally wrote in the study report, which usually scientists are very, very careful in what they write.
Yeah.
They wrote, if you extrapolate that to bodily fluids, that's basically showing how your body gets into homeostasis, by improving the water that way. Now, if we move to foods also contain water. We contain water, right? We're over 90% water on a molecular level. That's kind of important to understand. So we heard all these reports from people that put foods in the blocks before consuming them, people with gluten sensitivities, lactose issues, sugar, stress responses, all that kind of stuff. And they would all report, I have no allergy anymore when I charge that, or things like that. That's what they said, right? We're like, okay, we got to set up a study here. So then a clinic in Germany with I think $50,000 testing device tested stress response and allergy responses of the human body onto specific foods. And they tested lactose, gluten, and several others, including sugar, and they found a 55 to 85% reduction in stress response. These are pilot studies, though, and not all substances were tested, so I don't make a claim. Don't try it at home. But if you're interested in the topic, feel free to check out our YouTube channel, because we actually filmed this live on stage at Dave Asprey's biohacking conference 4 years ago.
Whoa.
Where Todd Shipman, biohacker Todd, who's allergic to crab meat, got crab meat in his arm live on stage by a scientist. And it got red and itchy. He developed blisters right away. You see it all on YouTube. And then the same crab meat they put in our infinity block live on stage. And then after a few minutes, they took it out, put it with a derma roller in his other arm. No allergic reaction.
Come on.
And for him, that always happens, because he is allergic to crab meat and to honey and to avocado. And each time he infuses these substances with quantum energy, he can tolerate them.
I need the big block right now. I need to put my food in there.
Don't try it at home, though.
It's incredible. Okay, so the structuring, okay, let's say I have my water. In the small one, I could probably fit a smaller cup. When it structures the water, does that mean the water is more easily digestible, easily getting into the cells? Why do we even want structured water?
Yeah, because then you can really leverage the water. So it's optimized for perfect intake, basically. That's how I would describe it. The Modo Institute would tell you that you want these beautiful crystals in the water. That shows that.
Yeah.
And so even our weakest block was able to, that's the quantum block, was able to move water from one beautiful crystal to 5 beautiful crystals within just 3 minutes.
So this block, how long would we keep our water there for? Is it instantaneous, or is it a few minutes?
Yeah, so I would say 3 minutes would be perfect, and a minute gives you already a nice charge.
Amazing.
And you can be creative with this, right? So if you have your favorite supplements or your favorite healing plant, you can add that, because in this block, because it's a multidimensional quantum space, all frequencies you put in get commingled. And that happens almost instantly. I mean, if I put a piece of frankincense in there in a glass of water, within 20, 30 seconds, the frankincense frequency will vibrate in the water.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it's sort of like activating it for its best absorbability and life-giving potential, the way it was meant to be.
Pretty much. And then again, it includes then the frequencies if you add any. However, and that's the beautiful part about it, because the nature of this strong quantum field is that it neutralizes and harmonizes everything that's destructive and harmful to life and to consciousness. So if you were to put water inside and then you put another little glass in there with a herbicide, let's take Roundup as an example, right? With the frankincense, we learned that the frequency gets into the water and you drink the frankincense frequency. So if it's a harmful frequency, it gets neutralized.
Really?
Yeah.
It's like it has a mind of its own in many ways, right? Or it's like...
Well, it's high intelligence.
Programmed, yeah. Programmed
it's not
to
even,
know.
No, it's not programmed by us to do that.
Yeah.
That's,
Whoa.
I mean, we know how to access the field and how to concentrate in the plates and everything, but the field itself, that's just its nature. It's life supporting.
It's life supported. And to be clear, if I put the frankincense piece in the water, you're saying that the water gets infused with the frankincense vibration.
You don't need to put it in the water. You could just put a glass of the water inside, and then next to it, you put, I don't know, a lemon, your healing plant, frankincense, whatever you want. It doesn't need to physically touch.
Come on. That's like magic. That's incredible.
Yeah.
That's incredible. Just like the internet was magic, like we were talking off air.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Amazing. How about you? Some interesting things that you've seen this technology do with like home and plants and pets or something like that, your own experience?
Yeah, so my own experience, people know that are part of our Telegram group. We have a private community with over 8,000 people that live and breathe this technology. And, I did a lot of research with plants. So I got zucchinis this big, eggplants
giant.
like this big, like giant, it's amazing. There are pictures of me. So it's not just me talking. It's like people have seen me with those. And I walked them through the process before and after. We've seen incredible effects, on the physical level. Me personally, I became number 1 last year in tennis in the men's 50 in the US.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I didn't know I was talking to a superstar.
Well, we're the old guys.
Yeah.
But still, I'd never been better than 23. And then I had stopped playing for 10 years. And then last year I felt like I'm going to do it. And I'm going to show that this technology can really give me an extra edge. And that's what it did. So, and I said this before, and my goal wasn't even to become number 1, right? I just wanted to make it to the top 20. And have a good time and see what I can do. But yeah, it led to that. But one interesting aspect that I don't talk about that often is clothing. So, and I use that also for playing tennis, but in general, it's something you can apply when you have these blocks. And that's why you need a bigger one also, because you can't do much with this small one. Most clothing supports a disease state. So linen, for example, is amazing, right? Linen is great and has a very positive effect on the human body, but most other clothing, especially athletic clothing, they have a negative effect. And people can test that with kinesiology. There are also other testing devices out there. That's what it does. It weakens our body. Now, when you put that stuff in the block, just a minute is enough, ideally 2-3 minutes, it changes. And if a kinesiologist is there and tests how negative it was prior, we'll test how positive suddenly it works after. So those are some easy tricks you can do. And then you can go further and say, okay, well, if I'm wearing this hat here all the time, and I love this, I don't know, the frequency of my favorite healing plant, let's put that in, and then it vibrates in there. So, it sounds crazy, but that stuff works.
Yeah, it does, but it's quantum, so it's not.
Yeah.
When you actually lean into quantum, it in itself is so incredible, but in many ways like crazy. You're like, well, how does that work? The thought of just putting clothes and it changing the frequency of clothes. We don't even think about the frequency of clothes, people here. I can only speak to the chemicals that are in like athletic gear. Yeah. But the frequency in itself, how it affects your internal energetic state, that's a whole nother conversation, but it's real. So when you won number 1, were you wearing linen outfit?
No, I was just wearing my regular tennis outfit stuff, but I had infused it.
You'd infused it.
Yeah,
Amazing
all of it.
stuff.
Olympic performance frequency. That's
I love
what
that.
I used.
I love that, man. God, I'm so intrigued, man. Go ahead.
But so what's important for people to understand, though, and that I want that really to be a takeaway for people, that ultimately we can do these things on our own, right? So we do have the inherent ability to learn how to do that with our own consciousness. And yes, I get it. We're not there. Most people are not there yet to do that. There are some people that know how to do this and can expand their energy field so much that they could sleep under a 5G tower and that it doesn't bother them, right? But still for them even, it is a lot of effort. So they would still use our technology. We have a lot of healers that can do amazing things. They use our tech because it's like an assistant. But I want people to understand that we do have this ability, and it probably will come back over the next 5-10 years to a lot of people, that we can do a lot more with that, right? It's just a muscle we haven't used. And as we get more into this, we can learn more and more how to perceive energy and how to work with energy. And I feel that's important. So to me, our products are a bridge and help us to get there also quicker because of the high vibration. These are like high consciousness fields. That's how I would describe it. And you know what you have when you're having dinner with an enlightened person, right?
Yeah.
Then you walk out of that dinner at some point and you're like, you're shining also from within. And why is that, right? Because the high vibration was infecting you in a positive way also. And then you're also suddenly feeling that, right? So if a high consciousness field is there, it invites you to also vibrate higher. And that's pretty much what happens. And by doing that, you kind of learn yourself how to do it, right? It's not necessarily that you are so aware of that's happening. You can be aware of it. But even if you're not aware, it automatically happens.
The simplicity, but the power, right? It's not always complex equals power. Things can be simple and powerful. And I think the viewers and listeners, we need to understand this, because these devices they're simple. They're around my neck, you know, and there's a block, no on button, doesn't start buzzing or vibrating. It just is. And so keep in mind how important, and there's research to back this up, which is incredible for me, right? And that's why I was excited to talk to you, because I look at the science and I go, okay, this is what we want to really ground everything in. And I love that you're open and wanting to do more of the science. Okay, so let's figure this one out. Let's do another research study. And I love how people are calling you up now and say, hey, we want to investigate this. We want to run a study. For everyone viewing and listening, where the heck do we get these devices? Because we got to get our hands on this. If you live near EMF, you got to get your hands on this. If you want to completely change your water and your food, you got to get one of these. And just your overall health, where do we get it?
So that will be at leelaq.com, leelaq.com. And yeah, there you can find everything. You can read about it. You know, another interesting way is if you want to get involved or learn more about it or ask other people about it, join our Telegram community. It's a private Telegram community, so you won't find it on Telegram, but you can find a link on our website. Just go there and ask questions, you know, and then don't take my word for it. There are thousands of other users.
It's the best way to do it. It's the best way to do it. Hear it from the users. See the pictures, see the zucchinis that are giant, you know, like really connect to the people and see that it's real. And man, I'm super excited. Like I'm gonna come back to you and really, you know, I can't wait to, you have given me ideas that I want to put my food in there. I want to put some clothes in there. I was just putting this around my neck, but I'm ready for the next level, man. I want to thank you, Philipp, for all of your, just the bravery to leave something that would be so secure and stressful, but secure, and to follow your heart. I thank all the energy healers that got you here, and you're bringing something into the world that we need, right? This is not just like, read a book and a new type of meditation. It's tangible, something that you can hold on to, put near your bed, put in your kitchen, put around your neck. This is what we need. We need something that is easy, something that we can just, you put it on, leave it, and then just trust. And I got to thank you for that, man. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you so much for having me on. I appreciate it.
All right, man.